turning what might seem like the worst thing that ever happened to you into the best thing that ever happened to you.
Wow, interesting.
Yes, we
Beautiful.
are.
2 as 1.
We are. I'm Karen.
I'm Andres.
And yes, that is our topic today. It is beautiful because it can happen when you get divorced. And it's not just after you get divorced, it's the whole time leading up to making the decision. You're going back and forth. You're hoping that you can make the marriage work, and you've tried and tried and tried, and you feel like you've been banging your head against the wall, and then going through the divorce proceedings, and then afterwards. The sooner you do this thing that we are talking about today, the sooner you will be in a better place.
Yeah, it's like a grief stage that you need to be on it permanently. It's just a stage that you need to learn how to deal with.
Yeah, and there's a whole setup here that we're going to be talking about. We're going to share with you, and this comes from this book, Getting Past Your Breakup: How to Turn a Devastating Loss into the Best Thing That Ever Happened to You by Susan J. Elliott. It's a really great book.
I know sounds painful,
Yeah.
but it works.
Yeah, it is painful, and the whole reason why we're doing this today is because you can be stuck in that pain, and you can make it last a long time. Some people never get out of it, right? You probably know some people. You can think of some people you know, but it's
That was interesting, the statistics in the other book, that the people after divorce, they it's more than 10 years that they hold the grudge.
Yes,
The hate.
yes.
That was not good.
It is not good, and what you can measure physiologically is that it gives you high blood pressure, it gives you heart problems, and mental health problems, because you're just going through life being angry and toxic, and that's a miserable way of going through life. Even people in that particular statistic, even people who have moved on and were married to other people,
Yeah.
still had this, which means that that's not really fair to the new person either, right? Because if you're spending that much time and energy on your ex of 10 years, then you're not fully in this new relationship. So
We know a little bit about that.
a little
Right?
bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I think just on your side. So choose wisely.
Yep. Especially if you want to have kids.
Exactly what I was going to say. My gosh, we are just so in tune with each other. Yeah. So now, because I guarantee you do not want to be stuck in this place. It's extremely, excruciatingly painful, and we can get through it in a healthy way, because what a lot of people do, they end up maybe going out and screwing around, or they start drinking and taking pills and all kinds of things, and that's not really necessarily the healthy way to go about it, because if we're just out flaunting around, we're not processing the grief, and that means that it's still there, and we are probably putting ourselves in situations that are hurting us more, and so we're just piling more crap on top.
Yeah, I didn't know about that until I met you. I never thought this going through a situation like that as a grief. That is totally and absolutely new for me, and makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, you went through it yourself.
Yeah, I was dating a lot.
Hey.
Right.
In a pretty dark place there for a while. I mean,
Yeah, that was fine.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you can have gone through it and not realize. What part did you not realize?
About to take the time to heal physically, emotionally, and spiritually as well.
Yeah.
That's important. That's something that I never thought. I just was trying to keep myself busy and distracting and yeah, stuff like that.
And I'm fine, right? I'm
Yeah.
just fine. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, a lot of people are there. So yeah. And what would you say are some of the things that really helped you truly heal?
Well, just the fact get self-conscious about what you really want. You know, see the future partner that you want in your life, and I think that's the beginning. And then from there, you can start to manifest and start to think in a positive way, and the person that you really want in your life.
Yeah.
You want to attract to your life.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. And we actually talked about that in the last one, right?
Yeah.
In the last one, thumbnail. So right there. Anyway, so before you get to that, while you're in the throes of it, this is kind of like a step up to figuring out who it is that you want. There is an inventory, and because many times as we are thinking about our relationship and we're going through all that, we get wrapped up in remembering certain things and totally forgetting about other things, and that also can get us stuck. Maybe we're really honing in on some very hurtful moments or times or long spats of times, and forgetting about other things, maybe some of the things that we did to contribute, right? And what were some of the warning signs and a lot of things.
Yeah, and just the fact that you can get the positive stuff from that relationship, and be aware and be thankful about the things that you learn from your partner in that time. That it's important, and it's gonna help you in order to move forward as well.
Definitely. Yep. There's always something you can take from, even if it's a little bit, and maybe it was just in the very beginning, but there's something, and even the negative stuff is something that you might learn as, oh, that's a red flag. I need to know how to handle that. So let's go over the relationship inventory that when you go through this exercise, this is an exercise that you're going to do over a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. Give yourself some time to really go in depth and do it, but also give yourself some breaks in between, because it's going to be very emotionally draining. You probably find yourself crying, and it's okay. It's okay to cry. Sometimes it's actually a really good thing to cry and get that out of you. So start off with writing a list of some of the things that were positive in the relationship, not about your spouse, your ex, but about the relationship. Maybe it was something like, I really enjoy just being in a marriage, or being part of a partnership and having the companionship, and, you know, coming home to somebody and sharing what my day was like, and those kinds of things. Maybe those are some of the things that were that for you were positive things about the relationship.
Yeah, it's important to be aware about the emotions that those memories bring to you. Not about to the person, but about the moment that you've been with sharing with this partner, and all the emotions, the feelings that you had in that time, the places, people, and everything, right?
Yes. And then when you've gotten done with that list, then go to what are the qualities about your ex that you really liked. Maybe it was like, okay, well, you know, he was really neat and clean. He was a good provider, or maybe he took good care of himself. He worked out, which helped motivate me to go out and work out. Those kinds of things that were some positive things about the person.
And sometimes you need to dig a little bit deep.
Yeah. What was it? I don't remember any.
But yeah, I'm sure something's there. You're gonna find something.
Are you having trouble finding something? Speak for yourself. Yeah. And what were some of the qualities of your ex that were important to you? So maybe it was something like, okay, well, he was cold and whatnot, but emotionally cold, but I knew that he was now cheating on me. Maybe that was something that you really appreciated. Maybe it was like, oh, every evening he would make a cup of tea and bring it to me, and that was something that you really enjoyed. It's like, oh, that was a nice gesture. Those kinds of things.
Yeah, that was love there.
There was something.
Right?
Then the next step is write down 5 special times or special things that you did with your ex. Maybe it was a really amazing vacation that you went on, or maybe holidays were really good, or maybe you had a child together and it was the birth of your child or first day of school or something like that, right?
I think at this point it's important to bring, remember this book that show the ways that your significant can show love.
The 5 love languages?
Thank you. That's important.
Yeah.
It's important to be aware about those things. For some people is touching,
It's me.
having presence, details. It's something that we need to learn from our partner.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the next one is, this is going to be interesting, is what were some things that your friends and family did like about your ex, and were they the same things that you liked about your ex? You ever had those kinds of relationship that your friends and family love your ex or they hate your ex?
I'm gonna skip this one.
We'll let that one slide. And then the next one is, what did you like about your ex that your friends and family didn't like about your ex? And did you find yourself defending your ex, or trying to make it like it was no big deal, or change the subject, or did it cause a rift between you and your friends or your family, that there was this difference of opinion of your ex? Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I heard some stories. So this next one's probably going to be easy. Then the next one is, what are the negative qualities about the relationship? We're going to do the same thing this time about the relationship. So maybe it was like, my ex wouldn't allow me to go anywhere. They didn't like when I spoke on the phone with my friends, or they didn't like me to hang out with my family, or things like that. And then what were the negative qualities about your ex? So that, they were really sloppy, they left the kitchen a mess, they were always late,
Yeah, it's important, I believe, to in this stage to pay attention to your feelings, and don't stay in that. Don't let those things make you upset, and be aware and move on. Don't stay. Don't hold the grudge.
That's why we're doing this exercise,
Yeah.
so that we can find a balance of what was positive and what was negative. Because it's also something, as going through this exercise, you also really get to learn a lot about yourself and grow, because what we're really doing is, instead of having a very emotionally flooded view, a look at the relationship, we're working on allowing all of it. And this is also part where we get to parse out, okay, well, these were things that didn't work, and what is it that I want in my new relationship, which will come later. So then here's another good one. What were some positive traits or things that turned negative over time? So maybe you really liked that he was very neat in the beginning, and then over time, the longer you were together, maybe you're not a neat Nick. And that became something that was really annoying, because now he was nagging you about you cleaning up and you're not cleaning up and this, that, and the other. Yeah, that could be a perfect example.
Yep. Why are you looking at me?
Very familiar, all of it, huh? And the next one, what were some early warning sounds when you look back at the early stages of your relationship? Were there some warning signs? What did you do about it? Did you ignore them? Did you talk yourself out of it? Did you say, oh, well, that's gonna be okay? Did you tell yourself, well, I can live with that, and I can get intellectual stimulation somewhere else? That was me, and yeah. So
question yourself about why did you ignore those signs in that time, and work on that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. This exercise is really helping you gain a lot of clarity about the past, and again, like I said, help you grow so that moving forward you can really get to be clear in who your next choice is going to be, right?
Yep.
So then, what were the 5 most hurtful incidences? And I know those tend to roll around in your head very easily and very frequently. So let's go ahead and get them down on paper so that we can start the process of having them not take over your mind and your emotions. And then what were some things that you did wrong? Because it's very easy to look at what your ex did wrong, but nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, you're not perfect. And so there were some things I did wrong. There were some things you did wrong, and some things you did wrong. And so it's good to take a look at yourself, because again,
own them
Own
and
it.
take responsibility.
yeah, and pay attention to yourself moving forward. Am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Where is this coming from? Why is it that I feel this way and think this way whenever this situation comes up? What's the earliest time that I remember thinking and feeling, believing this way, this combination? Because that's probably where this behavior is coming from, right? So then we can start to do something about it and undo it.
Yep.
Untangle that big knot. Write down any major incidences or issues in the relationship that probably stemmed from you. So let's say, what were some things that you did that led to a big breakup or a big blow up? Did you tend to be very impatient? Is that you as a person? You're very impatient. You don't want to wait for things. You expect things to be done. Maybe you're like one of these, like, come on, Andres, I need you to do this right now. You're in the middle of doing something else. I think you're going to finish, and I'm telling you, get it done now.
Right.
That's probably going to be a problem in a relationship.
Yeah. Always be kind.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Try to be kind, yes. You may be impatient and want things done now, but if you want things done now, then maybe you need to just do it yourself. Because think of it, do you like to be treated like that, right? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna pay attention to that.
Yeah. Somebody's been a little bossy here recently. All of a sudden, I don't know. Yeah, so now that you're reviewing those moments, because at the time, it could also be that there was a buildup of resentment over other things. Okay, so maybe you're suddenly being bossy with me because you're upset with me about leaving a mess somewhere else, and unbeknownst to yourself, that's what's happening. Maybe you think I'm too much of a slowpoke because I like to putz around and I take a little longer doing things than you do. So maybe that's what it is. And so think about this now, that you're out of it, and that you maybe have a better overview as you were really looking through and owning your stuff and letting them have their stuff, right?
Yep.
So what did you do? What would you do different now that you are in this place? And the reason why, I mean, we always have hindsight is perfect, right? But it's not in order to regret what happened then. This is in order to, we can now rehearse what to do in a similar situation moving forward. And that's the whole point of doing this. So I don't want you to get stuck in the regret and, oh, I wish I just had said this and I wish I'd done that. No, I've done that a lot myself, and it's been super helpful in me developing my ability to verbalize myself, and I'm still not great at it. I still feel like I have a lot that I can learn to go from, but it came from reviewing different situations again. And a lot of people, they get stuck then in what I was just talking about, and that's not helpful. No.
Yeah, this exercise is important because you're gonna learn how to express yourself, how to verbalize your emotions, and take your time before you speak. That's gonna help you to avoid a lot of incidents, and with your partner at work, when you communicate with others. It's very crucial to pay attention how you express yourself, because you can say exactly the same without being mean
Yep.
to others.
Tone of voice, flipping a couple of words around, instead of get this done now. Hey Andres, when you have a chance, can you do this?
Yep.
Wow, totally different way of saying the exact same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is really important. I have to get this done before this appointment, and so that's why, if you can, would you be able to do this now and then get back to the thing that you're doing now, because I'm gonna miss out on an appointment that's gonna be a lot of money or whatever kind of thing. So now I'm giving some more context to what's going on, why this is important, why it's urgent, and then he might agree. He's like, wow, okay, well, yeah, I can put this down and I can get to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been respectful of you and your time, and the fact that you have a brain and you can make your own decisions, and that I'm not just a drill sergeant coming at you. So yeah, that's a really, really important one. And this whole thing about taking a look at what were some things that maybe are some issues. I think it's probably obvious why this one is important, because if some of this issues in the relationship stem from some issues in you, then you can go ahead and start working on those issues and resolve them, preferably before you start going into another relationship. And then you can avoid all of this stuff and not create the same monster that you just got out of, right?
Yep.
And what were some significant statements you wished you had said? This again is part of that one where you get to practice verbalizing what you now have had more time to think about, and in a more logical, calm place, in a way that could maybe resolve the situation or make it not as heated. And also another one here is what went unsaid. That happens for me a lot. I find many times I'm thinking in my head, and then you say something, it's like, yeah, but that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, why didn't I say it out loud? And so I'm very much of an internal thinker, whereas other people are more external thinkers, and they speak what they think, and I'm inside in my head and keeping it all to myself. So that can be a problem in a relationship.
Yeah.
So what went unsaid? Which one are you, internal or external thinker? And was there something about the relationship that made you not say it? Was it because it wasn't safe? If you said something, they'll be all up in you. getting mad and chewing you out and whatever? Or was it that you didn't get any response? It was just shut down and cold shoulder and silent treatment? That could be another reason. And so now if you had your ex in front of you in the room and they couldn't respond to you, what are some things at this point that you would tell them? So this is a way to say a lot of these things in a way where you're not getting in an argument and it's not going to lead to any bad things, but you have an opportunity finally to, it's almost like finalizing something that is stuck. And that's the reason why we ruminate and we review certain incidences over and over and over again. It's like, because part of your brain wants to finish this event that didn't go very well. So this is your opportunity to finish it. Yeah, and then once you've done all this, now again, this might not be in one sitting. This could be over several days or several weeks of going. You'll come back probably and remember other things. Give yourself some time. Be patient with yourself.
Yeah, don't rush.
Allow yourself to cry, to
Yeah.
be angry, to have all the feelings, right? And to be sad and regretful and resentful and all of the emotions are perfectly okay. It's normal. And this is what life is. Then, once you've given yourself a break and you reviewed this list, this long list that we've been over, then go back and now, what are the things that you are happy or positive things that positive about losing this relationship? And then what are some things that you are unhappy or sorry about losing in this relationship? And what are some things that you feel angry and hurt about? And what are some of the things that you will miss? And this is really important. Here's some of your favorite. You mentioned it before. Everything you want to say thank you for.
Yeah.
And everything that you want to say I'm sorry for. Because now that you put all this on paper, you've had some time, you've done some crying, you've been angry, resentful, all those different things, giving yourself a break, and now come back. Now you can go to this phase here.
This time I'm gonna give you the opportunity to see the relationship from another perspective.
Yeah.
Like zoom out. You are the third person, like you are not part of that, but at the same time obviously you are part of it, but gonna give you the opportunity to see things in a different way. And that's gonna heal.
Yeah. And then the last part of this section here is write out significant statements about the relationship. So maybe it was my biggest mistake, or it was a huge growth experience, or wow, what a lot I learned, or we created these beautiful children, and it could be anything. And then that is that section here. And then give yourself some more time, and then here it comes. Start writing out, I forgive you. Maybe it's you forgiving your ex, maybe it's you forgiving yourself, probably both. And you don't have to feel it right away. And remember, forgiving is not about saying that the bad things that happened were okay. Forgiveness is never about that. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's bad, it's bad. This is in order to release you from all of those negative energies and emotions. Because they really are, holding on to those, like we talked about in the beginning, is something that makes you sick, literally, physically, and emotionally. Yeah.
It's a huge weight that you're carrying on, and it's gonna feel really good when you finally release all of it.
100%. Yeah. Then the very last step is, after all of this, you're going to write a letter. And you might find at this point, when you've done a lot of this emotional work, it's very emotional, you might find that, you want to emphasize on this particular event. And maybe by now, you're like, okay, well, I realize having gone through all this, that I really have an issue with authority, and especially male authority. And maybe that's why I was pushing you so much, and I was, poking the bear all the time, and because I didn't want to be bossed around, even though you weren't bossing me around, you were just being assertive or whatever, and so maybe it's something like that, and so maybe I want to write in my letter about, I'm really sorry, I feel I'm going to work on making myself softer, and not soft as in I'm going to become the doormat, but just as in recognize that when somebody is saying something in a more assertive manner, especially men, since it seems like I have a problem with men, then I'm going to pause and think about it more, and immediately make the assumption that it's coming from a good place rather than assuming it's coming from a negative place. Maybe that's something that I write about in my letter. It could be anything. This is just an example of what it could be that you take from all this work that you just did and write out in a letter. And so doing this work, especially in writing it out, there's a lot of, I prefer to write it in hand on paper, because when we are handwriting things rather than typing, there are more connections to more emotional centers in our body and our brain.
Somehow it's different. It makes a huge difference.
It does, yeah. Even in how you write, there have been times where I was angry and I was writing, I would just write big letters, and then the more I wrote, the more the anger just fizzled out, and so it went from big letters to just like my normal writing. It's like, okay, all right, I'm good now. And so yeah, and that is it. We will go ahead and put a link in here to that book, and I have typed out the whole process, and we will have a link for that as well that you can go ahead and grab. So other than that, let us know, like, share, comment, let us know about your experiences. What are some things that helped you? What are some things from this that you may want to try for yourself, and maybe try it out and let us know how it works. Other than that,
See you in the next one.
see you in the next one. We love you. Go out and shine your beautiful